Hello and welcome to our roundup of the week's events here at the European Parliament in Strasbourg. In the past couple of weeks, the sovereign debt crisis has intensified, with Italy in particular coming under sustained pressure from the bond markets. The main debate at the session this week has focused on steps to enhance Europe's economic governance, steps that EU political leaders agree are becoming more urgent by the day. The dangerously high interest rates that lenders are charging Italy have raised fears of a rapid snowballing of the sovereign debt crisis. Portugal, Greece and Ireland have all been stabilised by bailouts, but many experts think Italy, being the third largest economy in the Eurozone, is too big to bail out. A change of government in Italy has provided little respite. EU political leaders have therefore called for a renewed sense of urgency to ward off the threat of economic meltdown in Italy. MEPs heard from the President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, the President of the European Commission, José Manuel Barroso, and the President of the Eurogroup, Jean-Claude Juncker, all of whom are from our EPP political family. EPP Group Chairman Joseph Daul welcomed their commitment to the euro and to resolving the crisis.
As I have been saying for years, the solution to our problems is not less Europe, but more Europe. A Europe that we should transform through integration in a way that we should have done when the euro was first created. This crisis is the result of an error, which was to create a currency without the necessary governance to make it work effectively. This political deficiency should be recognized, but above all, it should be corrected, and corrected very quickly.
These comments drew heckling from British MEPs who favour their country's withdrawal from the EU, heckling to which Mr Daul had a typically robust response.
Europe is speaking, but the anti-Europeans are shouting. That's not my way of making things move forward in Europe.
Mr Daul said the EPP group would support treaty change if it was necessary to reinforce economic governance, but that the EU should focus on action rather than getting bogged down in procedures. One of the tools the EU has at its disposal to promote recovery from the crisis is cohesion policy, which focuses on Europe's poorest and most deprived regions. Cohesion funds make up a big chunk of the EU budget, and they're focused on boosting investments in economic development and infrastructure. This month, the regular question time session with the Commission focused on the future of cohesion policy. The Commission has just proposed a new cohesion policy framework for the next medium-term EU budget starting in 2014. The Commission wants to be able to deny or withdraw funding from member states whose budgetary policies are not sufficiently rigorous. But cohesion funds are targeted at regions, not at national governments. The Parliament's rapporteur on cohesion policy, EPP member Lambert van Nistelrooy from the Netherlands, explained that the idea of conditionality has caused alarm in many regions that rely on such funding.
This is a hot potato, to say, because now we have strict rules to the budget of the national states. And there is a proposal that's really reasonable, I think, that the funds might be blocked if national states don't fulfill these agreements. But, you know, those representatives from regions say to me, Lambert, how can we be punished, although the state made these mistakes?
The question time session also dealt with agriculture, a sector that accounts for almost half of all EU spending. Commissioner Dacian Cioloș, who's allied to the EPP and has responsibility for farming policy, answered many questions relating to the Commission's recently proposed reform of the EU's common agricultural policy. Mr Cioloș explained to EPP TV that the Parliament, as the EU institution representing citizens, had a vital role to play in shaping the proposed reform package.
The question is no longer whether we want a common agricultural policy or not, or whether we want farming to be intensive or green. The question is how to help the farmers do their job and how to help consumers. I will listen to those with different opinions. I listen to different groups of member states, and of course I listen to the Parliament too, which will for the first time play an essential role in this process.
Under the Lisbon Treaty, MEPs now have joint responsibility with member states for legislating on agriculture. Cinema has featured prominently in this week's session. Firstly, with the award of the Lux Prize for European cinema, and secondly, with the adoption of a report that aims to help neighbourhood cinemas adjust to the digital age.
For the fifth successive year, the European Parliament awarded the Lux Prize for European cinema. At the award ceremony, European Parliament President Jerzy Buzek announced the winner.
The winner, the author, main producer, Gedigyan, La Neige de Kilimanjaro.
The winning film, La Neige du Kilimanjaro, or The Snows of Kilimanjaro, by French director Robert Guédiguian, tells the story of a moral conflict that follows a couple facing unemployment and robbery by a jobless colleague. It's about friendship, couple relationships and unemployment in a period of economic crisis. The Lux Prize promotes a kind of filmmaking that speaks directly to Europeans about their daily lives, a kind of neorealism dealing with issues common to us all. The Lux Prize's judging panel constitutes more than 700 people, the entire European Parliament. The winning film will receive a substantial amount of money to finance its subtitling in all official languages of the Union. MEPs also adopted a report focusing on the survival of neighbourhood cinemas. The report was drafted by EPP group member Piotr Boris. Many smaller cinemas, which make up the majority of Europe's 30,000 movie screens, are in danger of closure. They're unable to pay the cost of switching to digital projectors, a cost estimated at around 100,000 euros. This report, an initiative led by the EPP Group, aims to provide financing to help those cinemas join the digital age. Cinemas in rural areas and small towns are especially vulnerable. This initiative, in turn, will help filmmakers benefiting from the digital revolution. Digital film copies cost about 1/10 that of celluloid. The aim is to save not only European filmmaking, but also the cultural diversity and creativity it supports.
That's all for now from EPP Report. You can catch up with all the news from the EPP Group, the largest political force in the European Parliament, on our website, eppgroup.eu. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to bringing you the news from the next Strasbourg session in December.